The sad reality, if you are a real estate agent, you have to count on your reputation, you have to count on your own knowledge, you have to count on what you know that somebody else doesn't. And in this video, I'm going to give you my story on how I was a real estate agent in commercial in Dubai last year in 2024 across 7 months, and what I did right, what I did wrong, how much I invested into this, and was it really worth it at the end of the day? Now, all started when I saw an ad on Facebook about a recruitment agency that were hiring about, you know, coming into Dubai. You have this crazy lifestyle that you see on Instagram and everything. You have this, mindset of you can make loads of money and you can be financial free. And as many of us know already, we have those aspirations, we have our own goals and we want to achieve greatness in life. And I said, you know what? Let me at least try this. What's worst case scenario, right? And also that I was so bonded to the idea of going to Dubai. You're gonna be in a place where a lot of successful people are gonna be in. So if you're surrounding yourself in a place where all these people gather, then chances are you're gonna be the next one, right? I could be far from being correct in this scenario. So the whole story short is that I jumped on a group interview with them. They didn't say you needed any to pay them or anything like that. Some people they do, but here's my opinion from these recruitment agencies because they do seem to do that quite a lot, and there seem to be 2 to 3 groups throughout the summer period, whether it's June, July, and then it's one in September. So what they do is they go on Facebook, they advertise on Facebook, they recruit bunch of people, they get bunch of people to Dubai, um, with the idea of becoming real estate agents, and they give them a training. They only have to pay for their own housing, they have to rent a car, they have to pretty much pay everything out of pocket, which is something that I personally did as well. And also, they say we're gonna give you everything that you ever need to succeed and start making money. You're gonna have the support, XYZ. Now, that's all good and everything, and you needed to have a bare minimum money to um, not just stay there, but also have some savings. Worst case scenario, you're not making any money in the next couple months. Now, for those that don't know real estate, because I didn't, is that real estate is a long-term game. And for me, is not just who do you know, but who knows you as well, and also your knowledge around things. But it takes time to build relationships with individuals, and especially with individuals that are multi millionaires. They have, and especially in commercial real estate. I wouldn't say so much in the residential side of things, and I'll cover the residential side of things a little bit. But that was it. That was the idea. So then I made a decision, and I said, you know what? Let me try this because I have a good feeling that that's gonna work, right? So I had about 10 to 15K in pounds on my savings, and I sold my car to match those savings. And I said, I want to go all in because we only have one life, and I want to, make sure that I live the most and make some memories, have some stories to tell, and then try it. Worst case scenario, I succeed. And this is what I did. So I booked one way flight and also rent out an Airbnb to stay for a couple months. And it's very so you if you've never been to Dubai, you've never seen stuff. So I went there and I live in the UK now, but I went there and I said there's another whole world where you've you've never seen stuff if you've never been out. You see what I mean? So they have such crazy lifestyle. They do have this expensive. Everybody drives a G wagon, like the like somebody's driving a Toyota Corolla, for example. So it's so common, and you do have that luxury, but also on the flip side, you do have the poverty, right? Because salaries over there are very, very minimum, and Jobs that's based on commission based is way harder than you think there is, because there's so much competition, and especially now, that's been ever before. Everybody can be an agent. Everybody can start their own real estate company. All they need is a license, and then just to have an office, and that's pretty much it. And then you can just start your own company. Now, here's the thing: when you don't know a lot of things, people can influence you in a good way or in a bad way, or worst case, in the way that benefit them. Now, what do I mean by this? So, if you make a decision based on information, based on what information somebody gives you, that's the decision that you're going to make based on what they said, the promise, right? So if you end up making a decision on an empty promise, then you're going to shortly find out that you're going to lose a lot of money. Okay, you're going to get some experience, and but this is where you coming in and say, okay, is there the 10, 15K worth the experience I'm just gonna get out of that, even if I'm prepared to not make a single dollar on the exchange, right? And then, okay, on the flip side, you're gonna make some networks, but again, who cares about you? You're just another agent at the end of the day. So I booked the tickets, and it's a one-way ticket. So I booked the tickets. I went there. Everything's great. I went to collect my car. Everything's great. I drove over there. The roads were massive. I didn't know where to go. I had to have GPS on at all times. The one good thing, and actually there's a couple good things about Dubai, is that you can have everything you want on your foot on your doorstep, like within a couple minutes. So accessibility to things and services is so easy, right? And some things are cheap, some things are expensive. You always need to look out where you're going out to. That you're gonna find yourself in a place that might be very, very expensive, and you might not even see it coming. But in most cases, I would say prices compared to UK, I would say it's about the same in most cases. But you also have cases that are very, very luxury and extreme. So you have that side of things. Also, one thing that I noticed about Dubai's lifestyle and nightlife is that it's a whole nother world. So what happens in the daytime also happens in the nighttime, and I would say double that. So you can meet so many people that have different type of status and everything. Another thing about Dubai is if you're single, you're screwed, because men don't date to have family, because they usually have like two, three, four, five chicks, and women don't date just because they want to start a family, but mostly for your money and your status. So you find yourself in the middle, say, okay, what do I do now, right? So that's just how that just what I personally went through. So it's not the best place unless you have your own family going on or relationship going on. The other thing about being a real estate agent is that there's no structure. Like, even if they promise you the training, the marketing, everything, it doesn't. It's everything I was given. It was just an Excel spreadsheet. I say, hey, just call these numbers, and then start talking to people and say, just make a bunch of lies, and then start promising the world to get their office or house listed, for example. And this is what they were advising agents on the group meetings, on the monthly meetings, and say, you need to make up this story that how you have a buyer, but he's from the UK or US, and they're waiting for the funds to transfer. So it's like, what are we even doing? Are we even helping people here, or are you just spinning a bunch of lies to convince people to get you as an agent, because you care more about your commission rather than serving somebody and helping somebody. But everybody is so competitive with each other. You will always have the same type of response from the business owners or from the homeowners. Everybody knows an agent, and let me tell you, the reputation agents have in Dubai, is the worst kind of reputation that you can possibly have. And now cold calling is not legal in Dubai, but everybody does it, no matter the rules, because that's the thing. And if you get caught, I don't know, you might be facing jail time, you might be facing some fine along that way, along that time. And also, you are responsible for yourself. And they've done a great job, some of these companies, getting people in on the under the full promise they're going to make tons of money and also going to have that that lifestyle and everything. I was working 60 hours a week, not having to just try to chase the next opportunity, the um next thing to make more money, right? And everybody's just against everybody. Everybody has the same access to the same spreadsheet for for starters. And the way they acquire the data sheets, the leads are from, they just go on the government website because it's public information. They download the public information and they pass that across to the team to filter some of the information out and then send you a bunch of leads on an Excel spreadsheet and say, hey, call these people, they're qualified leads. Um, but ultimately, every single real estate company has access to these leads. So you can imagine how many agents are calling up business owners, homeowners on a daily basis. You can have like 30, 50 people calling you if you're a homeowner or an office owner to get to your home and get your office listed. And it's such a crazy competition, right? So the other thing they were telling us is just, oh, go to the office, go to the building of the office, so you can learn all the sizes, the square meters, knock on doors and start talking to people and introduce yourself to the business owner, to the office owner, who might be the owner of the office, just asking for referrals left and right. Okay, now this is entirely normal. I think every single business that involves sales, it has some type of cold calling and door knocking and everything. But imagine being somebody that has never done this before. They haven't been taught the right things to say. They don't have any sort of training on the back end, and they've just been thrown out of the in the deep ocean and wishing the best and pretty much praying that somebody succeeds, or maybe somebody will see something in you that's going to be different from somebody else. I used to believe that so much. And I remember this clear and day, and because I was in the process of renting an office to a developer, and I went to his office and I took a buddy of mine and I said, let's go together because this is my first deal and I want to make sure that nothing goes wrong. Can you come with me so you can just make the whole thing flawless? And the thing just, it was how we went there, and even just parking my car, I didn't know that they had a valet, and the valet was £70 just to stay for like 30 minutes. And that was crazy. And I'm like, okay, hold on a moment, hold on. £70 for just the parking ticket to stay for 30 minutes. And I'm like, that's crazy. And then we walk up to the office, and we walked in, and it was like massive, right? And he had this massive table that you have a miniature on with the projects. And the idea behind that is that you bring your clients in and you sell the project before the project finishes. So that was still um, in maintenance, and they were still building up stuff, and he was selling duplexes and with pools and massive duplex houses and everything, right? And the starting point was 50 million USD, and the end point was 350. And I'm like, there's people out there with 50 million USD to just beat on a duplex home. And we're here, we're out here like trying to get some of the scrumbles, the scrums, the leftovers. And that blew my mind because I saw another version of reality that I've never came across to ever before. Because I say, okay, so if you make, let's say, 5% commission of that, right, as an agent, if you sell a property, you can make tons of money, and you have some opportunity there for sure. And I think it's more about numbers game, and everybody says it's about numbers game. But after being in sales the last 3.5 years, I would say it's more about what skills do you carry and plugging in the numbers game to make sure that you get most of it. But when you just finding yourself deep in the ocean and with no training, nothing, and the only support that you're gonna get is, okay, do you know your numbers? Do you know how many square meters this office has? And like, people, they don't really care that much about that. It's about human connection and making sure that you're solving the problem. And if you're good at your job, that also includes having knowledge about the property, having knowledge about, the area, the amenities, and all of that, so on and so forth, right? But building the relationship with people is going to take way longer. And for me, I think it was about at the end of the 6 month that I started connecting with a lot of people, because I was talking to people every single day. I was working 60 plus hours every single week, 6 months straight, right? And I would say to succeed, you need to have a bare minimum 10, 15, 20K on the side, and without making any money, just to have some luck, I suppose, because luck takes some factor into things, and really find some results from that. I would say my takeaway from living in Dubai and working in Dubai, I could I could see myself going back to Dubai, but I would never see myself working for somebody in Dubai. For no, I don't know how much money somebody would pay me, because the inconsistency, and people will fire you on the spot like that if you don't perform, if you underperform. This all about, if you don't do a job properly, I can find your replacement yesterday. There's so much demand that your uniqueness is not even recognized, right? So it's all about results, results, results. And I remember a colleague of mine that he said to me, and we are one of the best companies, because I used to work for another company. And if you didn't bring any results within the first week, they're going to just let you go and then find your replacement. But on the front end, they can promise you the world, just bring you in, test you out. And then the harsh reality is just people and businesses will just throw you away. Without having investing in you. That's the harsh reality, and especially in a sales type of environment, jobs where it requires a lot of skill, requires a lot of reputation. You cannot afford that, and you cannot. And if you're not working with a decent company, then chances are that you're gonna get laid off. So this is the harsh reality, and I would say, if I ever go back to live in Dubai, I will have some type of an online business, and I can have my stream revenue, and because that's the only way I can see myself living in Dubai, even though the relationship type stuff and the emotional connection with other people, it's not very that it's not a lot of that, because everybody's very transactional, and I don't like transactional relationships to begin with. But that's the harsh reality. And if you've ever been there, you might see some, you know, common things with the things that I say and the things that you've seen yourself. I mean, the level of influence and the level of power and the level of money that's out there, like this buildings that are made out of silver. We have a silver tower, have a golden tower, we have a platinum tower. And imagine being a developer one day, and then you wake up and you have this idea. And I have this idea. I want to build a platinum tower, or I want to build this golden tower. And then you just one day, there you are, you see a golden tower in front of you. So that is crazy. I remember I went to a club one day, and there was this Ferrari, Ferrari, as a decoration hanging from the ceiling, just like another building that you walk in. So you have this crazy moment, you see stuff, and you say, where the heck am I? So you start questioning your life, and you start seeing things with a different perspective. And this is the harsh reality when you go back to the country that you moved away from, and say, you know what, I didn't appreciate what I had, so let me just walk on myself a little bit. So sometimes you see that as a self reflection, and yeah. But other than that, I would say that Dubai is a very good place for networking, especially for business. Is very business orientated, and the people want you to succeed. And this is how I felt when I was talking with people on a daily basis. I felt like people want me to succeed. I just wanted to tap into that sphere of influence so I can absorb some of that lack, quote unquote, to make something for myself. Now, I know I don't want to make this like an hour long video, but there's sort of a lot of things that happen in place. And if you come across to something that seems too true to be good, too good to be true, mix up my words, then you may have a, may want to just do a little bit more digging around the company, just see what other people are saying, just see what the people that left saying about the place, not just the company but also the place in general. And it's also housing can be very very expensive, and also it can be very difficult to find a house and rent a house just to live there because there's so much demand. There's so many millions of people are coming in Dubai, and they're looking for an apartment, and they're prepared to pay top dollar for an apartment as well. But also you have the low end that you can't even stay because it's is worth than a the jail cell. And so you want to make sure that you go into the right time. That is why most of the companies they recruit over summer, because most people during summer they leave Dubai, they go back to their home country because it can get very hot during summertime, June, July until September, October. Then back in October, end of September, early October, they're coming back to Dubai, and you see millions of people coming back to Dubai and traveling back to Dubai to get business going and everything else. Now, if you ever come across an opportunity like this and you do have money on the side that you wouldn't necessarily starve yourself to death or leave yourself without a home, if you don't have anything to go back to, do not do it. I do not recommend you do something like that. But if you do have money on the side, and let's say you live with your parents, and worst case scenario, nothing happens, and you can go live with your parents again, I would highly recommend you do it because you can learn a lot of things, you can acquire a lot of skills, and you can see another world that not a lot of people are valuing themselves to make a decision like that. So this is my recommendation, and I hope you enjoy the video, and I'll see you in the next one.